The 8 things that you should never wear after the age of 60 that will instantly make you look outdated and cheap. When you wear clothes, do you ever find yourself wondering whether they are conveying messages about you that you would never express to yourself? As we become older, more and more importance is placed on the clothes that we choose to wear. But not for the sake of fashion, rather, for the purpose of dignity, confidence, and the message that we convey without even having to speak. The fact of the matter is that certain choices with regard to dress can unintentionally send out signals. By sending signals that whisper that we have let go, that we have stopped paying attention, or even worse, that we have lost pride in ourselves. We do not intend to have any of these things happen. This is not about trying to impress other people or following trends, rather, it is about maintaining your self-respect and making sure that you are not accidentally projecting something that you did not plan to do. In this video, we are going to discuss 8 items that you should never wear in your senior years since they not only look terrible but also scream low class. So prepare yourself. These are not merely subjective viewpoints or preferences, rather, they are recurring patterns that have been documented in the way persons are seen, particularly in their older years. The next video is tailored specifically for you if you are the type of person who believes that the way you present yourself is a reflection of how you feel on the inside. Stay attentive until the very end because some of these may come as a surprise to you. Once you come to terms with them, you will have a better understanding of how seemingly insignificant adjustments may have a significant impact, not only in ways that other people perceive you, but also in the way that you feel about yourself each and every time you leave the house. To begin, fabrics that appear to be inexpensive. Once you reach a certain age, the wrong material might send the wrong message before you have even said a word. While not all fabrics are made equal, the wrong material can communicate the wrong message. Fabrics that appear to be inexpensive, such as those that shine excessively, those that wrinkle too easily, or those that cling in all the wrong places, have the potential to make an otherwise respectable outfit appear careless, despite the fact that these materials could be affordable or simple to locate. They sometimes appear to be disposable. When you wear anything that appears to be disposable, people have the impression that you have ceased making an investment in yourself. Let's say that Evelyn and Ruth, both 75 years old, are on their way to a casual lunch at the community center in their surrounding area. In her wardrobe, Evelyn wears a blouse made of soft cotton that has a delicate structure and flow, something that maintains its shape while moving with her in a natural way. Ruth wears a synthetic top that shines in the sun and reveals every fold and crease thanks to the fact that it was hung out on a hanger while she was wearing it. It is irrelevant if Ruth's top is more expensive or whether it is more recent. The fabric is the one carrying the conversation, and what it has to say is not flattering. In spite of the fact that materials such as polyester blends or stiff synthetics sometimes promise to be easy to care for, they typically wrinkle easily, adhere to places where they shouldn't, and make movement appear unnatural. To make matters even worse, some of these fabrics reflect light in a manner that makes every fold and bump appear more prominent, attracting attention in areas where you do not want it. At our age, we are entitled to be comforted. However, comfort should never be sacrificed for elegance in any circumstance. And no, being fancy is not the same thing as being elegant. What matters is that you give the impression that you still appreciate the body that you carry. The fall of garments composed of natural fibers, such as cotton, linen blends, or soft knits, is typically more graceful than that of synthetic textiles. It is more comfortable to wear and has a longer lasting effect over time. Even though you don't have to get rid of everything that is synthetic, you should be judicious. The light should be held up to it. Make sure the seams are checked. Use your fingertips to get a feel for the fabric. Consider whether or if it adds a sense of respect to your day, due to the fact that it is possible that people will not notice when you are wearing a decent cloth. On the other hand, they always discover when you don't. A pursuit of fashion is not the point here. In other words, you must not give the impression that you have given up trying. When others see that your clothes are inexpensive, They might think that your standards are as well. It is obvious to you that this is not who you are. Excessive branding or logos. It may appear to be harmless to wear clothing that is covered in huge logos, slogans, or company names. From a practical standpoint, however, it may convey a message that appears to be out of touch or even desperate. When we were younger, to wear a popular logo was a way to either fit in or to show that we were popular. Nevertheless, at this point in your life, your dignity speaks more loudly than any designer label could ever hope to. Let's imagine that both Leonard and Gary are in their late 70s. The pullover that Leonard wears is clean and neutral, which not only complements his frame but also allows his inherent presence to shine through. On the other hand, Gary entered the room wearing a colorful hoodie that was completely covered in loud branding from the top to the bottom. This is not to say that Gary lacks any sense of taste. This is due to the fact that his clothing is doing all the talking. Furthermore, they are loudly yelling the wrong thing. It is common for the effect to be the opposite of acute or current. Rather than the reverse, it has the potential to give the impression that a guy is clinging to his youth and attempting to maintain his relevance by relying on a brand, rather than allowing his character to speak for itself independently. Not all logos are necessarily negative. On the other hand, when they seize control of the group, they shift the focus away from you and onto a business. And let's be honest, no one over the age of 70 needs to have a patch on their breast that advertises a particular brand of beverage or a sneaker company. It's not simply about how you can look. Self-awareness is the key to success. Clothes that are rife with logos tend to give off an impression of being infantile. Moreover, it produces an odd contrast for people who are of an older age. It gives the impression that the individual is trying to borrow confidence from his outfit rather than drawing it from within himself. Rather than aging with a peaceful authority and presence, the art of understatement is a powerful tool. A hue as a whole, a pattern that is gentle. This is a timeless style. These things convey a message that is significantly more significant than any logo could possibly offer. People say that you are comfortable with who you are and that you are not attempting to be someone else. Some people believe that you have lived long enough to realize that the value of your shirt does not derive from the words that are printed on it. The way you carry yourself, the way you behave, and the things you remember are the sources of this. Take a moment to pause the next time you reach for something that has a well-known brand name on it. Ask yourself whether it is serving your sense of style, the profit margin of someone else, or the people you are actually serving. Mostly due to the fact that self-respect is the most appealing thing that you can wear. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. No. 3. Clothing that does not fit properly. If you wear clothes that do not fit your physique, there is nothing that may bring down your appearance more quickly than your appearance. Clothes that do not fit properly do more than only make you seem sloppy. This is true whether the clothes are too loose or too tight. A message that you have ceased caring is conveyed by them, and the volume of that message may be more than you believe it to be. Imagine a pair of males who are both 76 years old. The individual wears slacks that cluster around his ankles and a shirt that falls like a curtain over his shoulders. The other individual is dressed in a button-up shirt that is tailored to his shoulders and slacks that snugly fit around his waist. In spite of the fact that they may have comparable salaries, health conditions, or even the same shoes, the manner in which they show themselves conveys two totally distinct scenarios. Wearing clothes that are too loose can create the impression that you are trying to conceal something or, even worse, that you have given up. When you wear clothes that are excessively tight, it can give the impression that you are trying too hard to cling to a past that has already passed away. When you dress for the body you have today, rather than the body you used to have or the body you wish you still had, You are respecting yourself and your dignity. It is not necessary to wear expensive suits or designer labels in order to have tailoring done. In other words, it means being aware of your body type and selecting garments that flatter your frame rather than those that try to hide it. In addition, it is important to take a look at your wardrobe if you have recently lost or gained a few pounds for any reason. If you continue to wear things that no longer fit you, it is the same as continuing to wear versions of yourself that are no longer beneficial to you. It is not about sticking out when it comes to dressing nicely in old age. This is about respecting who you are at this very moment. It is possible to walk differently when your clothes are a good fit for you. Taking a seat is easier for you. You have a louder and more confident voice. In addition, regardless of whether or not they are aware of it, people treat you with more respect. Irrespective of whether you like it or not, the world reads your attire before it hears what you have to say. Worn-out shoes come in at number 4. The shoes that a person wears might reveal a great deal about them. Scuffed soles, peeling edges, or cracked leather have a way of speaking louder than the words that come out of your lips. This may sound like an old-fashioned statement, but it is true. In addition, when you are older, every little thing matters. Shoes provide more than just a practical purpose. The degree to which you care about yourself is reflected in them. Consider the case of Harold and Dennis, who are both 81 years old, retired, and enjoying their golden decade. The shoes that Harold wears are spotless, well-maintained, and display a clear indication that they were selected with great care. On the other hand, Dennis makes use of sneakers that have laces that are torn and soles that are worn thin as a result of years of use. He could believe that no one is paying attention, but in reality, they are. Individuals are able to recognize those signs, even if they do not express them verbally. When your shoes are worn out, it gives the appearance that you have ceased paying attention to yourself and that you have stopped paying attention to others. Furthermore, that impression does not only influence how other people perceive you, how you perceive yourself shifts as a result, because something in your self-assurance begins to tear at the same time as your shoes are going apart when you wear them. It is not necessary for you to spend a fortune. All you have to do is exercise discretion. Always stick to designs that are ageless, comfy, and classic. Please ensure that they are thoroughly cleaned, polished if they are made of leather, and replaced when it is evident that they have reached the end of their useful life. In addition, if you find yourself stooping over to tie your shoelaces or suffering with shoes that are too stiff to wear, it may be time to investigate alternatives that provide convenience as well as a fashionable appearance. Now, slip-on designs are available that not only appear sophisticated but also provide support, which means that you do not have to give up comfort in order to seem put together. Not to mention the need of safety. Old shoes frequently have soles that are slick or arch support that is inadequate, both of which can result in falls, which is a significant problem in this day and age. The simple act of putting on shoes that are sturdy and presentable serves a purpose beyond simply protecting your feet. It gives you a sense of stability. You are able to convey to others that you are still standing tall, that you are still showing up, and that you are still paying attention to the world and your place in it. I would appreciate it if you could use the 4th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. 5. Accessories that are no longer relevant. There is a subtle manner in which time creeps into your appearance, and it frequently manifests itself in the smaller elements, particularly the accessories that we carry or wear without giving them a second thought. The handbag that has been patched an excessive number of times, the old belt with the leather that is beginning to split, and the glasses frame that hasn't been reshaped since the 1980s are all examples of items we have. These are not merely innocuous indications of sentimental state. You may rapidly become aware of the fact that you are clinging to the past in ways that are more detrimental to your aging process than beneficial. At the age of 74, let's take a look at two women named Norma and Alice. Norma carries a purse made of soft leather in a classic color, which is something that has been carefully cared for because it is ageless. Meanwhile, Alice takes her possessions in a tote that has seen better days and is covered in faded cartoon images from some decades ago. She might have a strong attachment to it, or perhaps she hasn't given any attention to the possibility of replacing it. To everyone else in the vicinity, however, that bag does not appear to be vintage. It simply appeared worn out. It is true that accessories talk, and as you get older, they speak even more loudly. When one accessory, such as a belt, watch, pair of glasses, or even a hat, does not match the level of energy or care that you put into the rest of your outfit, it completely destroys the overall picture. People might not be aware of the reason why something feels off, but they are aware of it, and it slowly alters the way in which they react to you. Moreover, it has the potential to alter the way you perceive yourself. It is not necessary for you to get rid of everything that is outdated, however. You should consider if the clothes you are wearing still accurately portray who you are at this moment. All of us are always changing, and so should your accessories. Keeping something that you have had for 20 years is not an act of loyalty, rather, it is an example of inertia, and inertia does not help you go forward. Take baby steps. Replace one of these things here. Your reading glasses should be updated with a frame that is an appropriate fit for your current facial shape. Take a look at a belt in a clean, neutral color, rather than a bag that is flashy. Choose one that has a strong and intentional feel to it. When the tiny things around you are as current as the wisdom that is contained within you, you will be shocked at how much younger you feel, how much more collected you are, and how much more confident you feel. In the end, being older is not about becoming stagnant, rather, it is about maintaining one's sharpness. In addition, there are instances when the alteration that is hanging from your shoulder or dangling from your wrist is the most significant difference you can make. Sixth, images or prints that are intended for children. There is something that is unsettling about seeing a grown man or woman in their 70s wearing a shirt that features a cartoon figure, a goofy phrase, or a trendy graphic that is intended for someone who is 50 years younger. The act of laughing or being playful does not have a certain age limit, in fact, it does not. On the other hand, the extent of the life you've lived ought to be reflected in the message that your wardrobe conveys. On the other hand, if you wear a shirt that appears to have been purchased from the teenage area, it does not give the impression that you are young. You have lost track of what is appropriate for you at this point. Take for example Linda and Barbara, who are both 78 years old. When Linda arrives for a party on the weekend, she is wearing a shirt that is uncomplicated, has a gentle tone, and has a delicate design that matches her features. The words, "Let's salsa," are inscribed across the chest of the t-shirt that Barbara wears when she arrives. The shirt also features a talking taco. Instead of laughing, the others in the room blink. Due to the fact that it is not charming, it is perplexing, and regardless of whether or not she is aware of it, the perplexity that she bears puts a shadow over the grace that she otherwise possesses. As you progress through life, you will eventually reach a point where you have earned the right to be treated seriously without being solemn. Children's prints and loud gimmicks on garments, on the other hand, have the opposite effect. They are able to transform a conversation that is intelligent into a subdued judgment. It's not about being anxious, it's about being conscious of the situation. When you put on a shirt that features a cartoon or a phrase that is currently popular, you could have a sense of fun. However, in the real world, it frequently appears as though one is trying too hard or, even worse, trying to conceal something. The reason for this is that when humor is imposed on a clothing, it almost never lands with the dignity that you might expect it to. Subtlety should be your goal instead. You should select patterns that convey your calm and confident demeanor. Soft florals, traditional stripes, and textures that are earthy. They do not scream, but rather speak in a soft voice. Some people believe that you are aware of who you are, and that you do not need to be humorous, warm, or loud in order to be noticed. You should take a moment to look at your shirt if you have ever pondered the reason why people aren't interacting with you in the same way that they used to. Is it the voice that is speaking for you, even though it is not yours? It is difficult for younger generations to even fathom the eras, movements, and situations that you have experienced in your lifetime. Irresponsible slogans should not be allowed to drown out all of that history because dignity does not require performance. It is sufficient for it to appear in a steady and unobtrusive manner. I would appreciate it if you could use the 6th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Let's proceed with our plans now. 7. Colors that are not matched or that are too loud. A color carries power. It has the ability to improve your mood, make your face look more radiant, and even make the people around you feel more at ease. On the other hand, when colors are mismatched in a way that is too bright or clash in an aggressive manner, they not only distract but also overwhelm. During your younger years, you may have experimented with colors such as fluorescent greens, hot pinks, or vivid designs that appeared to have been taken from a carnival tent. That is not a problem. However, once one reaches a certain point in their life, peace becomes more important than shock value. Take for example Earl and Samuel, two friends who are both 80 years old and meet for coffee. There is nothing extraordinary about Earl's attire. He wears a navy cardigan, a light blue shirt, and soft beige slacks. All of the pieces, however, complement one another. Samuel appears wearing a crimson cap, lime green slacks, and a bright orange pullover. He also wears trousers. A shift occurs in the energy of the room, and it is not a positive one. Samuel gives off the impression of being a walking paradox, rather than a dynamic individual, audible but not clear, visible yet not perceptible. Past a certain age, wearing colors that are too loud or that clash with one another can send conflicting messages. It is possible that it will give the impression that you are trying to attract attention rather than demand respect. Now, it is not what you are looking for, mainly due to the fact that your presence ought to be more noticeable than your taste perception. You have enjoyed a very long life. You have endured adversity, celebrated significant milestones, and carried wisdom that the majority of people have not yet acquired. Your clothing ought to reflect that depth rather than divert attention away from it. The fact that you choose colors that complement one another, such as warm earth tones, deep blues, and soft grays, does not mean that you are dull. You have a good understanding of equilibrium. In addition, individuals have faith in equilibrium. Contrarily, colors that do not match each other give the impression of disorder or carelessness. On the other hand, even when that is the absolute opposite of the reality. To get started, take a glance at your closet and make a note of the items that you always feel comfortable wearing. And there is a rationale behind that. It could be that the color makes your eyes stand out more or that it makes your skin tone appear more supple. Possibly it is the sense of calm that comes from not having to make excuses for the clothes that you are wearing. Construct your structure around that. A single, well-chosen color can serve as the foundation for a whole ensemble. When in doubt, simplify the situation. Simple things never make you feel embarrassed. Contrasting colors, on the other hand, can convey a message that you did not intend to convey, as well as the fact that you are not in harmony with yourself. And at this point in your life, you have earned the right to walk in harmony with everything that you are. There is a distinction between clothing in a manner that is comfortable and dressing in a careless manner. Whenever something that was supposed to remain hidden becomes visible, this is one of the clearest lines that can be drawn between the two. Fabrics that are too thin and reveal more than was intended. Blouses that, when exposed to light, will turn transparent. jeans that expose the wearer's undergarments. In the event that you take a seat, these are not merely fashion mistakes. At an age when grace ought to be the dominant topic of conversation, they send the wrong message. Imagine that Darlene and Rose, two women who are both in their early 80s, are currently participating in a Sunday brunch. In this outfit, Darlene is wearing a light tank top placed over a soft cream blouse. It is possible to get coverage without compromising comfort. On the other hand, Rose opted for a pastel shirt that makes her appear more subdued inside. However, when exposed to sunlight, it becomes transparent, allowing the contour of her bra to be seen. That was not something that she intended to take place, but it happened. The individuals who were around her were aware of it, even if they did not express their thoughts. One of the quickest ways to lose control over how other people view you is to be accidentally exposed to sensitive information. In addition, when you are older, when a significant portion of your presence is founded on knowledge and quiet dignity, the loss of that can feel more unsettling. Not only are clothes that reveal an excessive amount of skin improper, but they also generate tension. Those around them are forced to avert their gaze. Inviting judgment that you did not ask for and do not deserve is something that they do. Although you could believe that it is not a significant issue or that no one is paying attention to it, the truth is that they are. And the way in which people treat you, how they communicate to you, and how they listen to you are all influenced by what they take away from those mundane facts. It is not necessary for you to dress in a manner that is reminiscent of a nun. It implies being conscious of how your clothes alters its appearance in response to changes in the light, movement, or environment. Prior to wearing out materials, it is important to test them in daylight. See what happens when you sit, stand, or bend. Instead of selecting undergarments that complement your dress, choose those that match your skin tone, and make use of layering pieces when necessary. This has nothing to do with being a traditionalist. It is important to be well prepared. Because you have lived long enough, you are aware that even the smallest mistake can have a significant impact on the situation. You should not be in a position where you have to second-guess your choice of apparel or experience anxiety whenever you leave the house at this stage in your life. You have earned the right to go about your day with the knowledge that every aspect of your being is treated with the same level of respect that you have worked so hard to cultivate over the course of several decades. Lastly, some thoughts. Now that you have heard all 8 of these, take a time to yourself and ask yourself, which of these have made their way into your closet without you even being aware of it that they have been there? What are some of the things that could be preventing you from presenting the version of yourself that you actually want the world to see? I am relieved to report that none of these items are going to be around forever. It's nothing more than routines, a series of insignificant decisions made over time. Changes can also be made to habits, whether it's switching out worn shoes, getting rid of accessories that are no longer in style, or selecting fabrics that truly complement your form. Every alteration you make is a step toward recovering not only your look but also your pride. When it comes to dressing with respect, being fancy is not required. What it means is to act deliberately. It is about demonstrating to the world that you still have standards, that you still care, and that you still have something to say without ever actually speaking a word. Because people don't simply see an elderly person when they see someone in their 70s or 80s dressed with care and self-assurance. They don't just see elderly individuals. They perceive a person who has lived, who has learned, and who has not ceased making progress. And that is something that is extremely potent. That being said, if you have recognized something today that has caused you to halt and think twice, you should not dismiss it as unimportant. The voice of your intuition is heard here. It is quite accurate. There is no vanity involved here. The issue is one of self-respect. The important thing is to keep in mind that regardless of your age, you still have the right to be proud of the person you see when you look in the mirror. When you wake up in the morning, the clothes you select to put on are often the first thing that people notice about you. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.